Last night, I read the title essay of Kathleen Hale is a Crazy Stalker, a nonfiction book by Kathleen Hale featuring 6 personal essays. Although I'm not sure I can call what I read the title essay, since the actual title of the essay is actually Catfish, it's the story about Hale becoming a crazy stalker. Here's the backstory. Hale, a young adult novelist, received a bad review on her novel, No One Else Can Have You, on Goodreads. I mean really bad. 1 star, and worse, it accused her of making light of mental illness and PTSD and serving as an apologist for rape. The reviewer made note that she only read the first chapter. I personally find it disconcerting that this is what a reader took away from the first chapter of a young adult novel, and I suppose that's the impetus for the bad review. Catfish and the real-life events make a fairly convoluted story. Other reviewers read the bad review, reconsidered their initial review, and there was a bit of groundswell of book bashing. Hale, who struggles with mental illness, including obsessive-compulsive disorder, became obsessed with her dwindling Goodreads rating, and she responded to the initial bad review on Goodreads by trying to stick up for herself. The reviewer doubled down on her sentiments and enlisted a small army of bloggers and reviewers to attack Hale's online presence, and she successfully ruined Hale's career as a YA author. It's a sad story, and it makes me feel sorry for Hale. Last May, I got a bad review on Goodreads for my book Badass, My Quest to Become a Backwoods Trail Runner and Other Obsessive Goals. The reviewer gave the book 3 stars, which isn't that bad, but with the text, I wanted to love this book. I can't. Decent writer, and I'm sure many will like this book, but I'm not one of them. This was my only review so far. The thing that bugged me most about the review is that before he posted it, we exchanged a few emails where he called me a good and possibly great writer and acknowledged that he was turned off by the first half of the book, but he saw a lot of redemption in the end. Why didn't he write all that? This is where Hale and I depart. Instead of responding to the review or emailing the reviewer directly, I took an unprecedented step of asking for advice. I tweeted to the #writing community, should I respond or let it go? Every single person said let it go. Hale should have let it go too. If she did, she would be a successful author with a mediocre average number of stars on her debut novel and a promising future. Instead, she was buried under a mound of internet hate. Then Hale went nuts. She hired a private investigator and got a bunch of personal information about the reviewer. With the reviewer's real name, Hale cyberstalked her relentlessly, piecing together all aspects of her life. She went to the reviewer's house, but decided not to knock, contacted the publishing companies to learn the frequency of beta reader book deliveries, and ultimately started calling the reviewer at her work. All of this makes me hesitant to leave a bad review on Hale's story. Wow, those last few paragraphs. Blah, blah, blah. Imagine 20 pages of this. The whole time I was reading, I felt sorry for Hale's fiancé and her best friend, both of whom she references confiding in frequently during this period. I envision her rehashing the whole affair every night, adding in one small new detail that she might have discovered. It's an odd story, and I'm not sure why Hale wrote it. It isn't remorseful. She doesn't accept any responsibility, and despite the book being marketed as humor, it isn't funny. Probably the thing I dislike most about the story is it seems like the exact sort of thing I would do. For many people, OCD isn't the quirky behavior we see on TV, arranging closets and lining up shoes by size. OCD includes very real and painful needs to poke at things no matter how inappropriate, no matter how time-wasting or harmful that behavior might be. I've written before about my WordPress, Facebook, Twitter loop, where I sit cycling through these sites, maybe pausing for 10 seconds on each to see if anything has changed since my last visit 30 seconds ago. I want to stop, and I ultimately do stop, but it takes a while to muster the willpower necessary. It's a small, benign example. Imagine if it involved other people. Like Hale's reviewer, it's probably unfair of me to write about her book after reading just one essay, but I'm not reviewing the book, just the story and the situation. A lot of good reviews on Kathleen Hale as a crazy stalker are filled with anger and disgust that Hale's making money off of her inappropriate and threatening behavior. And even though I think I understand where Hale's coming from, I have to agree.